Hey, hey, hey. It is time for the Gothicalong live show for Gods of Jade and Shadow. I have my copy here in its terrible condition. That's actually not true. I did finish it. But I was doing it as an audiobook as well. So I hope everyone's well. I am not. I am not well. My cough has come back with a vengeance. So we love that for me. But let me know how you're doing. And then we'll start. It's just me this month. Oh my god, sorry. It's just me this month. Hannah was going to join me, but unfortunately, they've got food poisoning. So they're even more sick than I am. So it's just me. We're just going to chill out and hang out and have a nice time talking about this book. And I've clicked something. And my comments were there we go. Phew. Hello. So we will start with the basics, I think. Oh, hey, Hannah. I hope you're feeling better. We all feel sorry for you. I'm sure I'm assuming that's for you. Might have been for me. So I sound grotesque. The coughing is bound to get worse. So we love that for me. But I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I was annoyed at myself because if I had actually read it in January, in December, like I was supposed to, then I could have started my year with the book I wanted, which I'm hoping will be a 5-star, because this is the first year where the first book I finished of the year wasn't a 5-star. It was a 4, nearly a 4.5, but not quite. It didn't quite get there. Also, if I seem super dramatic, it's because I got my nails done, and I feel like I end up doing more of this shit when I've got nails on. So, hey, Susie, I hope you're well. Oh, don't be silly. No, you're fine. You're fine. Rest, recuperate, and feel free to drop comments about your thoughts on it as well. It was super last minute that I asked you anyway. It was super last minute, so fear not. You two, as in you enjoyed it? Did you enjoy it? What did everyone rate it? What did everyone rate it in the end? I invited Hannah, again, like I said, super last minute, because I knew Hannah had read it. I actually picked up my copy in the first place when I had my paperback, because Hannah had recommended it in a book club that we were in, that was the Bevies and Book Club version of Total Bollocks. So, ages and ages ago. Thank you. They're really sparkly. They've got, I don't know if you can see that, they've got moons and stars on. I'm obsessed. They're also like a gel rather than acrylic, so they're also transparent, which I find a little bizarre, but I enjoy them. But I do feel like I end up being more dramatic in general. So I'd heard about it. It was one of the first books by Silvia Moreno Garcia I ever bought. But I actually, because it was a paperback and brand new, I ended up selling it through Waypoint. And then I was like, I want a hardback, because all the other books that I have by Silvia Moreno Garcia are hardbacks. So I wanted a hardback. Didn't realize it was going to arrive without a dust jacket. And now I feel compelled to design dust jackets for all of the books so that they all match. That's my compulsion. Thank you. Rated at 4.5, rounded up to 5. That's what I do. I round up. As you should. Be dramatic. Yes. So what else did we rate it? I thought generally there was very little that I could fault with it. When we get to the actual spoiler discussion, I will go in more step by step as to what I liked. I really liked the pacing of it. I thought that actually it moved through it very, very quickly without feeling rushed. I think part of that is down to the fact that it is very much a tell story as opposed to a show story. I feel like it spends a lot of time just being like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And I didn't mind that. Again, as a book, not feeling very well and then getting back into reading was kind of exactly what I needed. I need to read the books to the timetable that I set. I set those timetables and then I just ignore them because that's who I am as a person. So I haven't read it, but I'm here to hang out and support, and I will get spoiled. I'm too nosy. That's fair. I always love mentioning this. I think it was either San Diego University or Stanford University, one of the American universities, did a study that proved people are actually more likely to enjoy something if they know how it ends. Not necessarily needing to know every plot point, but knowing whether it has a happy ending or a bad ending will let someone enjoy it more, because there isn't that anxiety there as to how it will end. So I always find that really interesting, and it's one of the reasons I've never cared about spoilers. Never cared about spoilers. If I could literally be told the plot of something, and then I could read or watch it and still really enjoy it. It like doesn't affect it for me at all. And I get really frustrated when people think that a trigger warning list and a spoilers thing are the same thing, because to me they're not. 3.5, it's not really my genre. Interesting. Okay, so was it the historical element, the fantasy element, the YA element, or some combination of those three? So it didn't grab my attention. There also wasn't specific. Okay, there wasn't something specific you disliked. That's fair. It's not every book is going to be for everyone. I was really disappointed that I didn't love Silver Nitrate, whereas this one felt like a very tame version of what I do like about Silvia Moreno Garcia. So I liked it so much I didn't notice that it was more tell than show. That's fair. I hate spoilers and I really don't want to end. That's fair. That's fair. Like I said, it's not everyone, but statistically, people are more likely to enjoy it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. It did feel different to the others I've read by her. I think it's the most tell so far. I think it's because the others are all adult and this is YA. And I don't actually know her publication list. I'm just going to have a look. So I'm just going to take my friend Kat back because she sent me a voice note and now I can't respond. Spill the beans when I'm done. She asked me a question, but I don't have time to answer her properly, so I'm just going to text her real quick. I'm done. Kiss. Okay. We want print list of Silvia Moreno Garcia books. Done. Let's have a look. Because I know that loads of books came out before Gods of Jade and Shadow did, but they're being reprinted, so I don't know if they're. I feel like they're going to be in the wrong order on Goodreads. They are in the wrong order on Goodreads. That's really unhelpful. That's really unhelpful. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I think it's probably the fact that it's a YA rather than an adult book, which I didn't mind, to be honest. And I'm interested to see which other books of hers read as YA rather than adult. I say that I've read two, like the main character in her books. Her main characters are always really strong. Whether they're likable or not is kind of irrelevant, but they're usually really strong. And I did think there was something really fun and complex about the main characters in this as well. Typically great. Yes, great. Writes great, compelling characters. I've never read a mythology heavily one I genuinely enjoyed. That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of, what did we think about the fact? Okay, I'm going to move on to the spoilery bit because I kind of want to discuss certain things. What did we think about the fact that the main or the initial setting is Yucatan, which is the same setting as the daughter of Dr. Moreau? In theory, just shy of that. Like if we assume that Silvia Moreno Garcia, it's a universe, it's all got like supernatural stuff in it. The mythology is very similar because she bases it on Mexican, Mayan, and Aztec. I feel like there's like a combination of those for like the Latinx thing. The theory is that it's like a Garcia universe, right? How do we feel about the fact that that's set in the same place? Because I love the idea that it is the main character, it's Cassiopeia. There's some kind of connection to Moreau's daughter, even though she's biologically not, but could be, because she was born of a woman from that village or that city. Yes, the SMG. See you. Yes. Every time I cough, my cat gurgles and rolls over. I think I keep waking him up with my coughing, and I can only apologize, baby. I read them so far apart, I didn't even realize. I think this is the thing. Like, there's no way, because obviously she spends a lot of time like traveling across Mexico, that I don't think it is super obvious. Whereas in Daughter of Dr. Moreau, they stay there. I really liked that. I've just got it in my head that these are like key settings now. And not only that, when they go to Mexico City, and she like is like actively like, Mexico City's a shithole, it's violent, it's aggressive, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, Certain Dark Things is set in Mexico City, and it's violent and it's a shithole, and I feel like that's either what Silvia Moreno Garcia views as those places, having been there, and I don't know if she has been there, or in the SMGCU, that's how that works. That's how that geography works. And I just love the idea that they're tied together in that way. I find that really fascinating. I loved it mostly because I love when authors reuse settings or characters across their books. Yes, I feel like it actually like creates like a fuller universe, and I really like that. And like, I haven't done that as a writer myself. Like, I've got a set of books that as a series will work for a completely different universe to everything else. Like, they are not the same worlds. But I love it when authors do this. This makes me very happy. I enjoyed the Mexico City discourse. I think anytime someone builds up this place to feel, I mean, it sounded like London. It just sounded so familiar and urban and gross. And I was like, yeah, I feel like this is a vibe. I had a different feel to me to Dr. Moreau. I think I like this one more. That's fair. I feel like this one, it was a lot more MacGuffin chasing. And this is why I wanted to say this for the spoiler discussion. I do feel like I'm going to move through stuff pretty quickly because it's just me, by the way. So if we're done in under an hour, that'll be why. Whereas with the Daughter of Dr. Moreau, because the conflict, other than those people invading their home and like coming to take their stuff or take them, etc., that's the only external conflict. Everything else is internal. It's her views of herself, her relationships, it's his views of himself, it's him dealing with his trauma, it's her learning the truth of who she is, the fact that her father's lied to her. Like, all of those conflicts are internalized. They're all things that she has to deal with on her own or introspectively. In Gods of Jade and Shadow, all of the issues are external. It's all things that, like, gods are chasing her, monsters are chasing her, she's got to hunt demons, she's like she's traveling from setting to setting. All of that conflict, there is at no point is her self-worth questioned. At no point are her views rocked to the point that she has to like have a moment of reflection. She just takes it on, and like, it's part of the reason why he like Hukame likes her so much. It's because she is that classic hero. It's just like, you're right, I guess this is how we deal with it, and then just like rolls on to the next thing. And I think a lot of people would find that really frustrating because it is a very MacGuffin chasing story. What I like, the subversion of it, is that pieces aren't all found, that some things aren't won, some places aren't visited, some things aren't achieved, which feels realistic. I think if they had just gone and collected everything, it would have felt a bit weird. Or certainly if they'd done it all in one go before having their big chase scene at the end. The only kind of introspective thing is with Martin, who is dealing with his own bullshit. He knows that he's selfish. He knows that he wants to be a big fish in a small pond. But again, he doesn't actually do anything to fix that. He just knows he's not a killer. And again, there's no like rocking of his mentality the way an introspective book like The Daughter of Dr. Moreau would have. I always said I prefer books on heavy internal conflict, but honestly, I love fantasy action too. It's just for different moods. Exactly. And I think it's fascinating that SMG can do both. Because I think some authors will rely very, very heavily on action and movement and settings and stuff. I remember years ago, I read, I think her name's Alison Hamilton or something like that. The Sands of something Sands. It was like based on Muslim mythology, but it was like before the Chakrabarti book came out. Oh God, I'm gonna need to find out what it's called. It's something Sands. Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I was so close. And I got so frustrated because no character gets a moment to actually have some internal conflict. They just move from set piece to set piece. And I got really, really frustrated with that constant, like, we don't get a chance to catch our breath or actually enjoy what these characters are up to. And then equally, there are ones where it's so heavily on internal conflict that nothing happens. I remember when I was doing my master's, loads of people were talking about how a literary book is more cognitive. Nothing actually needs to happen. You can have an entire 80,000 page novel and it's someone washing dishes, but all the conflict inside and everything they're processing is on the inside. So you kind of do it that way. And I think what I like about SMG is they can do both. And they do both really well. So they give us such complicated characters, such layered characters. They can be running across Mexico, or they can just be hanging out and sunbathing. And I will care regardless. I will enjoy that narrative regardless. So yes, I think it definitely comes down to different moods and also different contexts as well. Because there was a couple of times when I was like, this kind of reminds me of American Gods, in the fact that one, you've got her challenging her Christianity versus a different set of deities. The way the gods are portrayed and the way she interacts with them was very similar to American Gods. The way she moves from city to city to meet these different deities, etc., was all very similar to American Gods, minus the sexism, minus the racism, minus the arbitrary violence and things like that. And the things that I really, really didn't like from American Gods. So it was like comparative, but different, better, subversive, and I'm here for it. If you were going to compare this book to other books, what would you compare it to? Because I don't feel like it fits specific YA books on a one-to-one thing, but I feel like it has a little sprinkling of this and a little sprinkling of that. I feel like it has a sprinkling of Cinderella. I feel like it has a sprinkling of American Gods, and I feel like it has a sprinkling of A Dead Education, in the way that the pacing of it and the way it's told to you and the way you can kind of just sit back and enjoy the story and just be told the story because of the way the conflict is external rather than internalized. Oh my God. Yes, and I like the fact that she has repeated settings and themes in pretty different genres. I'm really looking forward to the next one. Me too. I've actively not read anything about Untamed Shore. It's one of my newest ones to own. I'm intrigued. Yeah, I just looked up my review from when I read it. I put American Gods and The Bear and the Nightingale. Interesting. I still haven't read The Bear and the Nightingale, but I've heard really good things. And you also mentioned Cinderella. It's the fact that she is treated like a servant, even though she is a woman of standing. It's the fact that she kind of has this horrible cousin in lieu of stepsister bullying her, belittling her because he's jealous of her. And it's also the fact that at the end, she shows him such empathy and compassion and allows it. I'll read it. Okay. I'll add it to the list. I think it has a lot of Cinderella vibes, but I wouldn't say that it's a one-for-one Cinderella retelling. I am not a massive fan of Cinderella retellings, but I feel like this one, it's enough of a Cinderella retelling, or has enough of Cinderella for it to feel relevant without it being like a lot. But I do think it has some American Gods vibes to it, especially with the travel. I actually really liked the travel. I felt like the travel took a reasonable amount of time. And it wasn't like Tolkien level traveling, but it also wasn't Rebel in the Sands, where like next chapter they're in a new city. So I was here for that. Again, where do we stand on lots of travel in books? Do you prefer a book that has one setting and they stay there? Or do you like ones that move? Thoughts. I also really liked that, again, if you're one of my patrons, which I think a few people here are, you will know that one of the prompts for the Wintry Whimsy bingo board is traveling and different settings, and I was really pleased that I could tick off that prompt with this book. I actually managed to do the entire left side with just this book. I will read other books and fill in more because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to, because I'm really bad again at setting bingo boards and then being like, I don't have time, or I've read other things because of who I am as a person. So I am pleased. Anyway, yes. So, okay, right. I'm trying to think other things. So complicated characters, loved Cassiopeia, loved that she was angry, loved that she was defensive, loved that she's clearly staunch feminist, here for that. Loved that Martine is such a foil. He's such a perfect polar opposite. Duality is such a great Gothic trope, and I feel like it's one that is massively overlooked in Gothic fiction when studying Gothic fiction, because usually we see things in such binaries anyway, we don't necessarily acknowledge it as a trope. So usually it's light and dark, right? In this one, it has the twin brothers as a duality of like kindness and evil. It has light and dark. It has life and death in the fact that she is life. He's absorbing her life and she is dying. He is death. The cousins being polar opposites in the capacity for empathy. One of them having magic willingly bestowed and one of them having it unwillingly bestowed. All of those things. It's so very gothic to have those binaries. Usually you would see it in pastoral and urban in romanticism, but also the idea of isolation or being swarmed by people, things like that. So I really, really like that this book worked. And I feel like it is like a metaphor, like it's constantly balanced. I really liked that. Did they acknowledge it and become really super self-aware about it? Yes, obviously. But I was here for it regardless. Move! I like travel so long as things are happening. It can be discussions or action, but I feel like I read somewhere that travel is just a description from. Yes. Yeah. I feel like I like the fact that for her, she wants to get out of her home. So the fact that they are moving so much is like a... Sorry, I've just spotted Pixie's comment that really made me laugh. Yes, there is, to answer that question. I'll come to it in a sec. I think the fact that each time they move somewhere, they're confronted with a conversation about what their goals are. It's the only time there's really kind of reflection and dialogue, and you can see them developing. As for is there any hetero nonsense in this book? Yes. Kind of. Like, in the fact that they're like... I mean, to be fair, he actively says that he's not a man. Like, he says that on a regular basis, and she knows that she shouldn't see him as a man because he's a god. I don't think you'll be mad at it. I don't think you'll be mad at it the way it's handled, because again, it's subverted at the ending. And I know this is a spoiler discussion, but I'm not going to spoil the ending because you've not read it. Yes, the romance bits are what have... Okay, the romance bit... I've got my mouse. The romance bits are what give me Bear and the Nightingale vibes. Colour me intrigued, but also fucking Martin. Look, like that guy, like, imagine finding out that your grandfather knows a god so intimately that you have wealth, power, prestige, and then being upset about it because it puts you out, that you've been such an asshole you can't control the person they need to controlling. Martin is wild. Like, to me, he is so funny. I feel like if this were a film, he would be played by like a comedic actor who just constantly looks put out. I don't know if you guys will know who this is, but it's the same actor who plays a potential date in Fleabag and is also the CEO's like assistant in Barbie. I can't remember the actor's name, but he looks perpetually put out. I would cast him as Martin. Like, well-dressed, greedy, can't take care of himself, idiot. Here for it. Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't know if you noticed, like, there have been, like, there was more hetero nonsense in Silver Nitrate, where both those people were bisexual, than there is in this book, for sure. I found that the romance and the relationships in general were really strong, were paced really well, and kind of, they have this kind of, like, slow build that felt realistic. It wasn't just like love at first sight. And it has like a... Sorry, I just kicked my stuff everywhere. Yeah, like I said, it had this like really slow build. I felt like it worked kind of well. I liked it. I think it would have been interesting if it had been an adult, how Silvia Moreno Garcia would have dealt with that. But I feel like because it was YA, it was very tame, it was very gentle. Here for it. I agree, I found him funny. I think this is the thing. I think he is a threat. He's the antagonist. He's one of the bad guys. But he's just pathetic. Do you know who he does remind me of? He reminds me of Benny from The Mummy. That's who he is. To the same degree that he is just merely a puppet for Imhotep. Or in this, it's Vacuum, whatever his name is. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. He has that same energy, that same vibe of I don't want to be here, I don't want to help out. Yeah, he reminds me of Benny from The Mummy. And if you haven't seen the Mummy and you don't get that reference, watch The Mummy. Stop watching this live show. Go and watch The Mummy. It's so good. It's so good. I really liked the God of Thunder guy who was like flirting with Cassiopeia. That whole interaction tickled me. Did it borderline a little bit creepy? Yes, but I think that's the point. We're all friends here. Do you know what I'm more worried about? I'm more worried that my mic is not particularly sensitive, but I know that when I'm on Discord and stuff, the volume shoots up when I cough, and I'm worried that it's doing the same for StreamYard as it does for Discord. So I'm just worried that my coughing is so much louder than my voice. I'm also very aware that because I've got this cough, I've never sounded more mask in my life. Like, my voice is so low right now. Very old, very 90s reference, but there is that scene in Friends where Phoebe gets a cold and her voice is really low and really sultry. Mine didn't go to a sultry place. Mine has gone to a masculine place. The Mummy is more bisexual than Silver Nitrate, despite having no bi-canon character. Let's be honest. Head-canon characters, though. Let's be honest. That's a throuple waiting to happen, and we all know who I mean. Yeah, I wasn't wild about the romance vibes, but the unattainable accent made it more interesting. Yes. I thought that actually the way it was handled at the end was very good. Very good. What else? I liked the stars references. I liked all of the astrology stuff. I thought that was great. I really loved the description of Xibalba. A fun fact, when I was at university, my flatmate Danny and I found this like random cat that just kept just wandered into our flat. We called it Xibalba because we had learned about Xibalba from El Dorado, and we just thought that was a great name. In hindsight, calling a cat the Land of the Dead feels a bit obtuse, but I thought it was a great name. Love the name Xibalba. Yeah, for sure. Cool. What else? I'm gonna be done in half an hour because it's just me, unless you guys have any questions. Flip-flopping whether I'm actually reading this. I'm flipping back to no. Oh no. You're not sure you're gonna vibe with it. Are you not vibing with it? Is it the fact that it's a het couple? I would say that the relationship takes up 2% of the book, if that. And again, the way it's handled at the end is sweet. I don't think you'd have a problem with it. I'm just not into astrology. So the thing is, it's not that astrology is relevant. It's that I don't think actually astrology is the right word. I think it's astronomy. She is obsessed with stars. She's named after a star. She feels born under an unlucky star. And apparently that's all relevant. Her dad used to talk to her about the stars. Having lost her dad, this is really important to her. So it's more, astrology is the wrong word. Now that I'm realizing it, it's astronomy, not astrology. It's not about star signs. I'm an idiot. Second stupid thing I've done in the last half an hour. First being that I thought the live show started at 7, not 7:30. So it was just sat here for half an hour. The second one being astrology, not astronomy. And the only thing that makes me feel better about that is Eddie Redmayne, who plays Steve Hawkins in the Stephen Hawking film, talked to Stephen Hawking about astronomy and got astrology and astronomy mixed up and said that he was like a Pisces or something and got roasted by Stephen Hawking. So it could have been worse, but no, I meant astronomy. She's obsessed with stars, not star signs. Horse of a different colour, very much so. Different horse altogether also worked for an analogy for me. I think it's both the unlucky star, but the rest of it actually yes. Yeah. I do mean I mean astronomy, not astrology. I'm stoop. Big stoop. But I really liked that, especially because there is a moment when the god that she's been hanging out with just takes a minute to look at the stars and take in what she said to him about them. And I loved it. It was it's one sentence. It was so cute. I loved it. Thought that was really sweet. Really sweet. Trying to think if there's anything else. Best and worst bits. Did you guys have any best and worst moments? I thought her fighting the big bat monster was fun. I enjoyed that. I mean, she didn't actually fight it. She just kind of ran away. But I enjoyed that scene in general. I like the fact that the gods are watching her through ashes. I liked a lot of how their magic works. I really liked that. It's all like death and bones related, so spooky vibes. It was actually a lot more like Halloween-y than I thought it was going to be, in the way that it's like a death god and stuff. I really enjoyed that. And I don't think I have like a least favorite thing. I cannot tell you why it lost a star other than I didn't love it. It just didn't feel like a 5-star because there was a lot of telling and just kind of being absorbed in the story. Yeah, much more astronomy. How dark and spooky are the vibes, deaths? I would say that the vibes are like spooky as opposed to spooky. Like, I don't think there's anything like insidious or gross or weird about it. There's bone magic, there's blood magic, there's sacrifice, but it doesn't, because you're being told, you're not really given, and because it's for YA, you're not really given enough or too much time to dwell on that. You just kind of go with it. So they're not super, super spooky vibes. They're relatively spooky though. It's like a cheeky Halloween-y vibe. Yes, cozy spooky. Thank you for reminding me what the word cozy is, because I was lost. But yeah, so it's kind of like light. Because it's fantasy and urban fantasy or like low fantasy, I think that also means that it's not as dark and creepy as it could be. I didn't find the competition at the end between her and Martine interesting. I think that was just pushing it. Yeah, it did feel like... I made a comparison to something else that's all dropped. There was a book that Ali tried to make me read, and I don't think Ali's in the comments, so can't help me. But there was a book that was like they had to go through a maze and get to somewhere on time, and I just didn't care about it. But that was the entire book. I didn't mind that this was at the end of this and takes up like 3 chapters max. But it does still take up 3 chapters, so I get that. That's fair. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Similar to what you said, I enjoyed how they learned from each other and he took her increasingly serious. Yes. Yeah, cozy spooky is definitely the vibe. The dynamic is interesting too, in that Martin is spoilt materially, but intensely jealous of her. Yes, I really liked that. And I really thought it was interesting that it's related to their gender as well. There's like a comment where his focus is on the fact that his grandfather is like, why couldn't you have been a boy, to her? Probably because he wanted to pass down this to someone that he trusted, and he trusted her more than he trusted Martin. But 1, she was married out of wedlock, and 2, she's a girl, so he can't or won't. It's interesting that Martin has sisters and doesn't view them with the same jealousy as Cassiopeia. I've been thinking, but can't think of anything else I didn't like. That's totally fair. And I really loved the end. Yeah, I thought actually the ending was strong, was really strong. I think sometimes with fantasies like this, because you spend so much time moving and so much time getting from place to place to place, it can feel like the ending's a bit flat. Didn't feel that with this one. Thought it was a really strong ending. Excuse me. Oh. But yeah, so I don't think there's anything else I have to add. I do think I'm going to need to get a guest for Untamed Shore, because this is short. This is a short live show. If I call it now. I'm going to annoy me if the ending's cheesy. Yeah, that's fair. And it wasn't. Relief. The ending was not cheesy. Yeah, so Untamed Shore is the next one. The live show, I'm just going to check my diary. The live show will probably be the 6th of Feb, which is technically the first Tuesday, but the second week. I was going to have it on the 13th. I think on the thing I've put the 13th. I might have a week earlier, just because it's my birthday on the 12th. I've got meetings all day Valentine's Day. I then have a presentation or a read through of my play on the 15th and another business presentation on the 16th. I feel like if I do the live show on that Saturday, it will just be too much. But I might postpone it to the week after and do the 20th. So let me know, which would you prefer? Would you rather have it a week earlier or a week later? I feel like I'd rather have it a week later, but I also know that I'm really bad for not reading the next one. It will probably be between 7 and 7:30. Your birthday's there. I believe then your birthday is very close. I think it goes Hannah, then you, then me. I feel like Hannah, Ryan's birthday is just a couple of days before mine, rather a week later. Okay. Yeah, I think Feb always feels like a really busy month because it's so short as well. It's so bizarre. Those 3 days make all the difference. Hello, others, I'll forget everything. Fair. So now it's split. Yeah, week before the 5th. Mentally, I thought it was the 6th, but 5th. I tell you what, let me just... Okay, I've opened up... Let's do a poll. There we go. I will leave it to you to decide. So we've got the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th. Which date would you prefer? What date works best for you guys? We can be flexible because then we can go back to standard in March because then that will be the 12th. Because I don't have much. It's Mother's Day the Sunday before. So other than that, I will have 0 plans. Which would you prefer? Okay, we're split 50-50 with 2 votes. I imagine that's Susie and Pixie. Oh, now I've got split 3 ways. There's 6 of you here, according to my stats. So hopefully you won't just keep splitting it 33%. I'm not doing 3 live shows. That's too much. Mm-hmm. But I don't know anything about Untamed Shore. I'm going into this one completely blind. Okay, we got 2 votes for the 20th. Okay, I might give it a couple of minutes and then leave it there. I think at 10 past I'll leave it. I'll be honest, I'm very selfish to my vote because I want to be able to be a guest. If I love it and early service busy for me, that's fair. That is fair. Well, like I said, I'm gonna leave it 2 more minutes and then we'll call it. Unless I get another vote for the 20th, in which case I'll call it there because then that'll be most of you anyway. I don't even know the synopsis of Untamed Shore. Sorry, I keep kind of distracting myself. I don't even know the synopsis for it. The beach vibe gives me a kind of waif and stray vibe, maybe something Bronte-esque, but other than that, no idea. I don't even know if it's a modern one or historical. Can't wait to find out. I want to change my vote to the 6th. Well, I'll be away for the 20th. Oh, that's a shame. Did you vote for the 13th then? I do think it's going to be either the 13th or the 20th. Excuse me. It's probably a good thing that I've rushed through this so quickly because I'm struggling to breathe. I am struggling to breathe. Right, I'm going to end it here. So it was the 20th just because of what came out. So I'll be changing that to the 20th. Sorry, Susie. You'll be able to catch up and watch it afterwards, and feel free to drop all of your thoughts in the Discord anyway. Pixie, if you want to join me on that live show, you know what you've got to do. I will send you the link near the time. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Have some rest now and drink lots of water. I'm genuinely going to go downstairs, make myself some hot beverages. I think I'm in the mood for a hot beverage, and then I will drink lots of water, take some more Lemsip. I sound worse than I feel. It just sits here. That's the only problem. And it's also when I talk a lot. Annoyingly, it's every time I laugh. Every time I laugh, I start a coughing fit. And that makes me sad because I like to laugh. So I hope you feel better soon too, Hannah. Yeah, it is definitely time for tea. Not bad. Managed to nail this in 40 minutes. Had loads to say. I think the thing is, because I'm really positive about this one, because I enjoyed it, I can't really fault it. It means that it's a lot quicker anyway. Whereas if I don't like something, I have a tendency to tear it apart. Ooh, Web of Lies. Yes. Thriller vibes. Bring it. Here for it. Love this for us. Right, I'm going to end it here. It has been a delight as always to see you all. I will catch you in the Discord, if not before, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.